Today we're looking at our dual stage heat exchanger. It's one of the units we are commonly send with one of our brew houses. It is two-stage, first stage being either domestic water or chilled cold liquor, second stage being glycol for additional trimming as needed. These can also be sourced in single stage where it would just be domestic water or cold liquor running through them. Regardless of if they come from us incorporated in a brew house, if it is CLT that is feeding it, it will be hard piped, and all the outside, that hot water, basically using the energy from this and recycling it back to the HLT. Kind of save on energy costs there. These are generally oversized for every brew house we do. They do typically get about a 1-to-1 ratio going through them. So efficiency wise, they're very good for all the brew houses we do. They can also be incorporated into someone with an existing brew house as well. A couple things I wanted to touch on. There's not a lot of daily maintenance with one of these, with the exception of back flushing after you use it, cleaning it forward, backwards to keep it unclogged for as long as you can. Best practice. A lot of people do pack sanitizer in when they're not using them and just keep it that way, which that's fine practice as well. About, give or take, anywhere 6 to 18 months, so we'll say yearly, this will most likely have to be taken apart and manually cleaned. So, not an easy process. Usually takes about a day to do properly. A couple things before you ever jump into that is, one, you want to make sure what the compression is of this unit as it is right now. So you have your stationary plate and you have your movable plate. And the one thing you want to do is go around to all four corners and take a measurement so you know exactly what to compress it back down to. So checking that measurement, write it down so you don't forget it. It'll help you a lot in the end. Once you actually go to start undoing it, we do supply one of these wrenches with every heat exchanger. We do have additional ones here too if it got lost or misplaced. This will obviously need a cheater bar put on it, but you additionally loosen all 6 of these brass nuts. And once you have loosened them, then you can slide the whole movable plate out across through here. So you can see we slid out our movable end plate, and then we just start plate after plate. See, they might get a little sticky from being compressed for so long. On each gasket, there's little push tabs. And basically you see the little hole that corresponds with it, and you just push those little tabs right back in the holes. That will hold it back in place until you can get the plates back put together. But you'll start seeing the gaskets are a little different on each plate. This side washes up into this hole. This one washes up into this hole. So inspect the gaskets as you go through, as you're cleaning. This is a used heat exchanger, but as you can see, it was not used very much, so there's not a lot of buildup. You will get, especially on the wart side, caked on material that will have to get scrubbed off, essentially. Might need a little elbow grease when doing this. But just go through each plate. Like I said, unless you absolutely have to, don't recommend taking the plates off of here. That's how they get put back in wrong, it causes a lot of problems and you gotta take this whole thing apart again. But you keep going through them, see how dirty they are. Like I said, inspect the gaskets. Make sure there's no tears or anything like that. Most likely there won't be unless it was leaking prior to you taking it apart. And then move the whole glycol side. So you should have plenty of room to be able to work in here and scrub on these things. And then you can get into the water side of the gas, the heat exchanger, and go through those plates as well. It does take a little time. You want to make sure you do a very thorough job. It's not something you want to do twice, if you can avoid it. And then putting it back together, it's just like taking it apart. Push it all back together. You know, as you're doing it, make sure your gaskets are correctly put in. Put your plate back on. Put your rods back through. You start tightening the nuts evenly around the whole plate until you get to your original measurement that you took before you started.